Like, I'm done trying to build someone else's business. Like, if we're going to struggle and do this with someone else, like, let's try and figure it out for ourselves. And we did. And that was the beginning of PumpFit Club. Hey guys, and welcome back to the Get Peeled podcast. I'm Hannah Eden and my beautiful husband,
Paul Barreto, guys. Thank you for tuning in.
And we are here in Phoenix, Arizona, right on top of Camelback Mountain. So we just hiked our way up here. And what are the stats that we just did?
It's 1.5 miles and 1,500 feet elevation.
Yeah, of gain. So you climb 1,500 feet. It's pretty nice. Yeah. And now we're on top, and it's just so crazy. It's like one big rock right in the middle.
One big rock
of the
right
city.
In the middle of the city.
Yeah.
Really cool residential area as well. Kind of love it.
Yeah, it really is.
Homes.
It's one of those things we keep saying, ooh, we're looking for a place to maybe possibly relocate and buy a house. And every time we get to a new spot, it's like, wow, this is so beautiful. I could really see ourselves living here, you know? But it's just, of course. Thank you. But we're here today to talk to you guys from this beautiful, peaceful location about why we closed the gym, why we closed PumpFit Club.
Yeah.
What that whole story was about, and to put ourselves in a vulnerable space and share, and hopefully you guys can learn from our experiences. I know that we've learned so much and there were so many lessons within it, and just to kind of explain what happened. I know a lot of people know, obviously in Fort Lauderdale, that the gym closed because that was their home in our community, but online, as far as our online community, our Hef tribe, we never really talked about it, so I think it's time.
That's right. We never really spoke about briefly in like live videos every here and there, but not really getting to really much depth. So let's tell how PumpFit started, how everything came about.
Yeah, I think this whole episode will be a kind of rundown of of course, focusing on why it closed, but before we get there, telling a little bit of a story of how it began, what PumpFit Club was, because some people may not even understand or know what that is, and kind of how it began, what it meant to us, and you know the struggles from running a gym, and also the rewards, and talking about all of those points from both of our points of view. So I want to start with
keep it short. It might be a part one, part two kind of thing. We don't know.
Yeah,
we'll see.
But we'll start with what is PumpFit Club?
So PumpFit Club was a personal group training studio in Fort Lauderdale. It started in 2015.
Face me a little bit more so they can hear you on the mic.
Okay.
Before we get into it.
So PumpFit Club was a personal group training studio, which means that it was group training with a personal touch into it. It felt like you were in a personal training session, starting 2015, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And it was what we did for 5 years of our lives. Yeah,
and I think even going further back than that, PumpFit Club was the start of a brick and mortar facility where the brand was already alive. But if we rewind even further back before PumpFit Club in Fort Lauderdale, it was an opportunity that I got, and I've never spoken about this on my own platform or own channel, right? Mm-hmm. And I think we should keep it short and not personal at all. But it's a really good learning lesson, and anytime I have spoken about it on any other platform or podcast, it's been received in a really good way because it taught me so much, and a lot of other people too. So if we rewind to the very, very beginning of my fitness journey, I began in CrossFit as an athlete and then became a CrossFit coach. Paolo then got into CrossFit as well and also became a CrossFit coach. And now that was our family, right? Like I know a lot of you guys that are avid gym goers have that community or that space where your gym is your home, your gym is your family, your friends and your community. And a lot of them are still around, but certain individuals aren't, just because of burned bridges that were created. And I'm not ashamed to talk about it, but if we rewind back to the beginning, I was given a really cool opportunity, and I do want to also thank this individual at the same time, because without that individual, I don't think I'd be where I am today. And people always joke around and say, like, thanks for the haters, because you guys pushed me harder. Like, it's a kind of a shallow and not the right motivation, but at the beginning of my career, 100% was my driving force. I was like working out of, you know, getting burned and hurt rather than really doing it for myself. To really find your reason. But long story short, we were both coaching at this gym, and we both had a cool classes, right? And we built this up. The guy that owned the gym said, you know, we can't fill this class with CrossFit, so can you fill it with something else? So it started as a boot camp, and we built it, and I put a lot of effort into it and was like, okay, like I'm going to commit to it. And I was in school at the time, practicing photography and graphic design. So I was applying all the stuff I was learning in school into building a brand and how to advertise and make promotional pieces and making like flyers and, you know, dropping out cold call texts to my friends. I was in a school where I was going through business of development of how to create your own business for a photography degree. So I started to do that for this fitness space in this class. Anyway, it started building really big, and I think maybe the owner of the gym at the time was under the impression that maybe either I would stay there or that if we were to open up somewhere that he would have some skin in the game. And I think at some point in my mind that was a thought, and then time progressed and certain things were happening that really started to shine light on certain individuals and made me question whether or not I would like to go into business with them for the rest of our future. And long story short, Paolo and I made the decision that we wanted to build our own business. We were building someone else's, and I felt like I was a very undervalued and undervalued and underappreciated, and I felt like shy of my own ability, I guess. And I remember certain arguments happening, and one of the last things they said was like, anyone can do what you do. You remember that? Like, and all these like bitter, petty shit happened. Long story short, we got really mad one day and was like, fuck this. I said, Paolo, like, I'm so sick of it. And again, catty bullshit drama. I was like, I'm done trying to build someone else's business. Like, if we're going to struggle and do this with someone else, like, let's try and figure it out for ourselves. And we did. And that was the beginning of PumpFit Club. So we both went into business really young. I was really young. Do you have any more to add to that story, by the way, from prior to?
I think it's enough. It's not that story doesn't define PumpFit.
No. But I think it's a lesson learned. Yeah. I guess the lesson that I learned through that was I never retaliated, right? I think some of the last words that were ever exchanged between us was like, don't ever fucking forget who made you. And I think that's important to say because the natural Hannah would want to just fucking be fiery and spicy back and be, go fuck yourself and blah, blah, but I didn't. And it was the best thing I think I've ever done. It was my best failure was at that point. And it went very south. And so I didn't retaliate. We cooperated on every level that they expected to, and we figured out a way to get our very small group of people to support us and follow us to our gym. And we started with nothing pretty much. I think we had 20 members, right? 25 members, and we built it. And we built it from the ground up. My parents were on a road trip across the United States. They stopped in Florida to help us build out this broken down, deserted, like, church, right? It was like an old church that homeless people would sleep in. There was burnt cigarettes and mold everywhere. It was fucking disgusting. And we got on our hands and knees and scraped the shit out of the floor, scrubbed all the walls, and just demoed the whole place. And between us all, my parents, you know, some friends, some really good friends, and us, like, we built it. Put so much love into those four walls. And yeah, chime in, babe.
So yeah, that was the beginning. December 2015, we opened our doors. And we started our classes. I remember it was December 1st, was a Tuesday. Monday was the grand opening. Tuesday was the very first day of classes. And we had 2 people in our 6 a.m. class, right? And that's what we did. And dang, for almost 5 years, it was the beginning of everything. And it was the one opportunity that we had that opened all the doors that came from that point on. Every opportunity that came kind of started from having that base, right?
Yeah, and I think if we rewind, there's important parts that are exciting, that were really fun to do, which was we didn't just open a space and expect people to show up. Like, we put a lot of thought into the brand itself beforehand, the programming, what was going to be our bread and butter, like as far as our secret sauce when it comes to being able to protect your intellectual property. How can we brand each day of the week to create continuity without it becoming too repetitive? How do we make this a cool place to be and incorporate multiple modalities into one, so we don't ever specialize in anything? We generalize in just general fitness so that we can continue to evolve and stay up to date with up and coming fitness trends and apply what we're passionate about into our programming, applying what our coaches then began to become passionate about when it got to that stage. And it just became this like evolving space of really cool individuals that would come together. And now I look at it from a business owner's point of view, and we definitely had the above average fitness level come in, and I think that was just through intimidation from the stuff that was seen online that we would post at the most advanced level. But we had everyone from advanced athletes to, you know, professional football players to a 72-year-old member or someone that could barely stand up out of their chair. Like, we have had every walk of human being that you can possibly think of, and we had such an incredible time. And what was PumpFit? It was, how do you explain the programming? How do you explain what is PumpFit? What's our elevator pitch? Remember that?
So the program was high-intensity interval training that combines variety of modalities into a structured training program, in a sense that every single day we followed a recipe. And by recipe, I mean an interval structure. So that's what we did best, high-intensity interval training. Each day we played with different ratios of work to rest. We played with different structures. It was a lot of trial and error in the beginning. While looking back from when we first opened the doors and to when we closed them, the training and the programming changed a lot.
Oh, yeah.
A lot. And we started incorporating everything that we like doing.
Yeah.
Animal flow, steel mace. Almost lost that one. Animal flow, steel mace, kettlebells a lot. And then
running, rowing, pull-ups, box
everything you
jumps.
can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome. Amazing.
It was amazing.
It really was.
It was by far the best. It was the best years of our lives.
Yeah.
To this point.
Yeah. So what was PumpFit? That's what PumpFit was. Where was PumpFit? Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I had a little structure here, so we stayed on track.
Any questions that people asked online, we wrote them down, right?
Yeah. So how did it begin? We talked about that. And now I think, if we zoom out, right, and look at this from a high level, the experience itself was so valuable. And now that it's gone, it was one of the hardest decisions that we ever had to make. Obviously, COVID hit 2020. We were a really small boutique style gym where we had a room that fit up to maybe, if we pushed it to 20, but us classes usually were 14 to 16 people.
Yep.
We were really, really passionate about making sure that everyone left that building with a higher fitness IQ. So the application of coaching and form and making sure that everyone moved in the right way was so important to us. So we had a lot of really cool people come through, but it was a small business model, right? And we opened that business when we thought, this is what we wanted to do. I was really young. I was 23. It was back in 2015, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 24, actually.
24.
Yeah, I was 24. How old were you?
No, you're 23.
I was 23. You were, right before my birthday.
Mm-hmm.
How old were you?
Shit.
Anyway,
Yeah.
you were how many years older than me? He's like 5 or 6 years older than me, so he's about 28. Anyway, we opened up really young, and my mind was like, this is exactly what I want to do for the rest of my life, is like have this gym and be a mom and pop's gym and have a family and allow our kids to be running around, and maybe we'll get a bigger space next. Like that was where I could see, and that was all I could see at that point in my life. But it was around the same time that a lot of things were happening and running parallel with the gym, with that big decision and big steps in my career, and then Paolo's too, and one of them being the Reebok One Contest. I thought that that's what we wanted to do. I remember being at that contest and talking to Paolo because he picked up the keys while I was there to our building that I was coming home to renovate and open this brand new facility and blah, blah, blah. And it was really the beginning of everything all at once. And throughout that experience, I had a lot of really cool opportunities. I met a lot of really incredible, important people in the fitness industry that helped pave the way for me and gave me a break or gave me an opportunity that I jumped at. But with that being said, it changed the trajectory of the gym's plans, right? Like it shifted where we thought that the gym was going to go. It began as Hannah and Paolo were the gym, right? We made ourselves the business, which is awesome. People showed up for us, but if we weren't there, it became a problem. So over the 5 years, if we zoom out from that high level, Paolo, like talk to them about like the struggles that we had. I want to talk about the general struggles that we had with ourselves and our own personal journeys and the growth of the gym and how the gym was going to get to the point that we had envisioned it being at. And then I'm going to ask you one question of like, what was your biggest struggle? And you can ask me what my biggest struggle was, and we'll do the biggest reward as well.
I think that, so whenever we opened the gym, like you said, we had this idea in our minds, right? We were two young, hopeful entrepreneurs, I guess. We thought that would be the beginning of a fitness empire. And we thought that program could be all over the world, which ended up happening through different ways and different venues. But initially it was like, okay, we're going to run this, and this is our passion. It's going to be family ran. But then the opportunities started coming after the Reebok contest. And then slowly you started getting opportunities that took you away from home. And in taking you away from home, I was doing what I could do, I guess. You know what
He was doing amazing, but I left him with everything.
No. It's not that so.
But I mean, if we strip it away, right? I'm a very black and white person, but like, if we really zoom out from a high level, we went into this business thinking that we were each going to have a partner that would be there, and we would do this together. And whenever online and my Hannah Eden fitness brand began to pick up and become something, we sat down and had a conversation. But now I think about it, like, we really didn't give that much thought to it. We're like, are you sure we want to do this? Yes, I think you should do it. You do online, I'll run the show here. And that was when shit started just going crazy, which in good ways, and then also not in that great ways. It put a lot of stress on a lot of places, yeah.
It was tough. So it began with us running the gym. And if there's anyone out there right now that you just open your studio, or you are an entrepreneur in whatever business, whatever industry you are, you understand that you wear all the hats, especially in the beginning. You wear every single hat. You have to clean, you have to fix, you have to make sure that the customers are happy, you have to do the program, you have to, it's a lot, right?
Marketing.
And for someone who gets into that space, and for this matter, if anyone, again, listening out there, for you who got into any industry, if you like baking, if you like whatever it is, you get into that industry because of passion, because you love that craft. And you quickly understand that when you open the gym, the actual craft really consumes maybe 1 hour of a day, and all the other 23 hours of the day is doing all the shit that goes on the background that needs to happen for the business to keep going. So that started happening, and then slowly started putting a big toll on us, I guess.
Yeah, a lot of stress, and I think that there was a lot of guilt, and I think that what you project is what people pick up, you know, and I felt guilt every time I got an incredible opportunity. It was like one half of me was like so excited to be able to have this opportunity and you know, take this next step in my career, but the other half of me was like, felt like it was wrong, like I shouldn't have been doing it because I'm leaving my community behind, I'm leaving my husband behind, or, you know, it got really lonely. It was like, I remember doing crazy things like this and being able to see some of the craziest, coolest places and being like, man, this is not, I feel ugly for complaining about it, but this is not how I thought it would be. Like, I'm so alone, and so is Paolo, and yet we're in this together. So it was a stressful time for sure. It put a lot of stress, but from the outside in, you know, everything was great, you know, but it was hard. It was a really hard experience because I was away a lot. I will never forget one September of like 2018, I think it was. I think Megan and I were home for like maybe 6 days throughout the entire month, and they weren't together. They were like a day here, 2 days here, 1 day here. Like, it was crazy. And, you know, we did what we had to do, but I think it's important that people understand, like, people always want what they see as the end result, but they don't understand what it took, and it took a lot of fucking eating shit. Jeremy Scott puts it very, very truly, it's like, you fucking died to be here. You ate shit to be here. And Gary Vee says the same thing, right? It's like, you eat dirt, like, you know, until you can float on the clouds, but, you know, you got to be willing to eat shit for a while if you want to make it, and a lot of people don't. So I think that that's a really important lesson that we all know is like, now that PumpFit's done, of course we wouldn't share that kind of stuff with our community. Ow, motherfucker, you got me real good. But it was really tough on both of us. So those were the struggles, I guess. But on top of that, I think it was also, let's talk about team building, right? Like how we had such a big breakthrough at the end, and it was really shitty that COVID was the reason why that we had to stop that. But
it's tough. I mean, it's a cycle of life, and it's a cycle of any business. It goes up and down, and this is one thing that I think my mom told me that, and it was just a quick proverb that's, it will pass. This will pass. Whether you're doing good, it will pass. Whether you're doing bad, it will pass. Everything passes. Mm-hmm. So there were points where we were doing great. We built the right team. We have a ton of members. Everyone is happy. Everyone is good. And I remember feeling like, oh man, this is great. If we can ride this for a long time, life's good. But then, and it happened once or twice and 3 times.
But be real, what happened?
No, just shit happens. When you think that you find the perfect team, 2 pieces of that team, 2 pieces of that puzzle, they have other plans and they move on to something different. And then you're stuck in ground zero. And then it's you, me, and 1 more trainer. And then we have to coach all 37 classes again on the week.
But then we built back up,
and
right?
Then we built back up, and then we broke down again. So I think that cycle happened maybe 2 or 3 times. And by
And
the
life,
third time,
life happened.
yeah. And by the third time, I remember whenever I looked around and I'm like, this is a great team. I'm just going to count the days until the next thing happens. And sure enough, it happens.
Yeah.
It will never change.
And the second thing that was important to throw out there, right, is we'll make ourselves human here, more human. Business was doing great, but our personal life wasn't. That was the year that Jess got really sick and passed. That was the year, you know, stuff happened in our family. Really horrible things happened in our family, and it ripped the rug from underneath us. But again, when we hit rock bottom, we built ourselves back up to that all-star team that we had. We finally, the end goal was to allow someone else to come in and run the show and make them the face of our business, you know, make the coaches the face of PumpFit, not just Hannah and Paolo. People go there for PumpFit. People come across the world for our coach Becky and for Emily, and they began to do that. And that was something that we discovered at the end was, I think, full disclosure, I used to be afraid of elevating others in case they overtook me. And then I realized that that's such a stupid way to live your life, because I actually enjoy elevating others, and it's something that makes me tick on a personal level. And I love helping other people get a platform, because that was exactly what happened to us, right? And I think it should go full circle. So we did that for our coaches, and it really started to happen. And that was the most heartbreaking and the most difficult decision to make, was to close the gym. You know, I always knew that Paolo and I were going to be okay. We overcome things just from those few examples that we gave you.
You get used to it.
Yeah, it's life. We understand that. It's you know, almost like an injury. You got to rebuild and heal and rebuild and re-strengthen yourself and get back up and keep moving. But I also understood what this space had done for so many individuals, from a leadership standpoint, from our coaches, but also from our community, the lives that we had changed. Like, I'll cry over this shit, but it was such a important place for so many people, and it all came down to a decision that we had to make, which was, you know, you look at the numbers, you crunch numbers, and at first the initial thought when COVID hit, I think for everyone in the entire world, was this will also just pass. I remember just saying that all the time, this shall too just pass, and blah, blah, blah.
It will, but
it will, all right, but
longer.
Whoa, we were so naive to think it would be 3 months, 4 months, you know, and we were going to push this one through. And then it became extremely real, and Paolo and I we avoided the conversation for the longest time, and then we had it, and we put numbers on paper, not feelings. And when you remove all feelings and emotion, it was the only decision that we had, really, from a business standpoint. And then we decided, you know, if we do push through, I don't have any doubt that we will succeed. But at what price, right? At what stake does we do that? Because it would be our egos wanting to make this work, because we have our hands in 4 or 5 other businesses that we've created that are doing...
That needed us
and never could have us. Because we were so spread thin that it would be a bad decision to put all of our energy, which it would have taken just Paolo and I, because our team may not have been able to be around for us at that point after, you know, COVID and the unknown. And there was no stability in that realm, and we had an opportunity to put our energy into our other businesses and apply our teamwork together again, because we hadn't done it for so long. And that's what we did, man. And I will never, ever forget the day in the podcast lounge at HQ telling the team. And it was, oh my God, like, phew.
Yeah, that was intense.
Yeah, crazy, so heartbreaking.
It's hard.
And the community too, and I think that people were like, what? And shocked, even our team was shocked. But really, like, I have so much admiration and sympathy for gym owners during this time. I mean, we were in the state of Florida, and we knew that was a lot more open and free than the rest of the world. And we knew what that was doing to us. So I cannot even begin to imagine what that has been doing and will do to a lot of other small business and small gym owners around the world. And, you know, a lot of those people don't have anything else other than that one thing, which was our initial goal too. PumpFit was all we wanted to do. And, you know, when you don't have any other, you know, baskets full or no other options, it's hard to start again in the middle of a pandemic, then you have to make it work. And I applaud and put my hands up, and everyone that is part of those communities should give a huge shout out to the owners of the gym and the whole team that are trying to make it happen day in, day out.
Yeah, that was tough. And that's how crazy life is, right? Because I remember 1 year after we opened the gym, you decided to open and start the online business. to try and somehow use the online platform that you had created to start a business. And shit, if it wasn't for that, when COVID happened, we would have been stuck in between a rock and a hard place, you know? And that's why we're so fortunate, because we're able to pivot and completely focus on the model that had already hit the ground running almost, 2-3 years? So whenever it happened, and that's why it's so heartbreaking, because we understand that if we were in that position, chances are several businesses, if not the majority of them, in town, at least in our town, they were in a similar position, right? And the fact that they had to stay open because it was the only option they had, that is
so
heartbreaking.
tough.
And we're, again, fortunate to have those businesses running. We were fortunate to have made through those struggles, right? Because I remember when I said that put a toll on our relationship, man, it was, we had some dips.
Oh yeah.
We had some valleys, along with some peaks, but we had several valleys.
Yeah, I wasn't around much. I had to make I hate the word sacrifices. I like to use the word struggles. It's like, it's not a struggle, man. I made choices, and choices have, a repercussion, and they have a ripple effect, although the goal was always, this is for the future of our business and to grow. When you're sprinting so fast, if you don't have a tight unit, it's like, what the fuck are we running for? Like, where are we going? So we did that a few times along the journey and recalibrated ourselves. And I think that it was from the hardest lessons and the micro losses, or you can call them failure. I'm not scared of the word failure at all. I think it pushes us to be better. We have come out being better humans, and that was one thing that I remember writing, and I'll probably post it one day, but like a journal entry of when PumpFit was going on. It was like the biggest takeaway from me for the last 5 years that we put into the business was how much of a better human being I became because of the people that were there.
Yeah. Now, especially because we're now all living through a pandemic, in connection and being around people and be able to socialize with people in a very personal level, more than just a screen. Since that's been taken away from us, we look back and we miss a lot of it. And it's tough because, and I know that everyone listening right now, you had the same thing. Fuck, we were stuck in the house, just you and I.
Oh my God.
And then when we look around, we're like, oh, fuck, I really need other people to influence me in different ways. Know what I mean?
Get stimulated by others.
Stimulated. Different conversations, different points of view, different. And PumpFit was an integral part of who we are today, I think, because like you said, we opened the gym. I was 29, 30. You were 23, 24. And
so naive.
Every experience that we accumulated, every interaction, every conversation, it shapes us. Yeah. In some way.
We had a really, really cool community too.
Correct. And it's also the responsibility that comes with owning a business, especially a fitness facility. You already held up by different standards because people look up to you. You're training them. You're owner, and you have a duty. You know what I mean?
To serve others.
To serve others and to be the best you can be. And sometimes when that's taken away, in case when we closed PumpFit, I found myself like, fuck, man, I gotta do better. It always kept me in check, I guess, what I'm trying to say. That's the point I'm trying to say. Essentially, the facility and all the members and all the relationships kept me in check, at least, to try and do more, to try and be better, to try and be more responsible. And with that going away, I feel like I had, and I still have, to find other ways to keep myself in check.
So, biggest struggle?
Biggest struggle, I think it was 2018. We were coming from a first quarter of 2018 was amazing, business-wise. We were killing it. And then second quarter came around. We had personal issues on our sides, my family, our friends. We have some losses. And after that, we had the mission in Iceland, the charity mission that we did, where you did a crazy mission. If you guys haven't watched that, you can look it up. Iceland, Hannah Eden, you find it. And then after that, I remember after July, we came back, and I look at the numbers of the gym, and I was like,
Holy shit.
holy fuck, we're in the toilet. We gotta do something.
Yeah.
And I remember that from August to about December was, to me, the hardest, business-wise, and maybe personally, but personally, I mean, inside, my brain was toasted. I remember going to bed and having trouble sleeping because I was thinking about the financials, the statements, and fucking the money wasn't there, and the membership was going down, and fuck.
It just shows, though, mate, how much you have to apply yourself to your business, because if you don't, it ain't gonna run itself.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of friends and a lot of people that open up a business and wait for shit to happen. It's like, that ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
What you put in is what you get out, right?
It was crazy. But I remember that end of 2018 was insane. I remember looking, okay, so we're gonna pay the rent in a few days, because right now this is gonna happen, and the credit card, you know what I mean? It was like a financial gymnastics that we had to do for a while, and that was tough. I remember feeling like a fucking failure, you know, because like you said, you ran out to do the online side of our businesses. I was home running the gym, and it's one of those, right? Is it your fault? Yes. Is it only your fault? We can argue that all day, but that's not the point. It's almost, when you're an entrepreneur, and I remember
Whose fault?
making that analogy to you. When you're an entrepreneur, you own the driver's seat. And if you take the fucking bus to the wrong destination, whose fault is it?
What do you mean, though, that it's whose fault?
No, meaning, shit, the financial side and the business started
It's on
going
us.
down.
It's on us.
And it was on me. Like, not so much on us, but it was on me, because I'm supposed to be overseeing those things and making sure that things are being done correctly.
And also be present in every other aspect of your life that needed you, which is humanly impossible.
Right.
You know?
But all in all, it was that. It was one of those, holy fuck, I was a driver. And now we came to the wrong place. You know what I mean?
And what about biggest reward?
Biggest reward. Through our life in PumpFit.
Just through PumpFit. What is your biggest reward from PumpFit?
I guess the biggest reward from PumpFit is today, being able to, so today it's going to be, all right, so we're in May. In about 25 days or 28 days, it's going to be exactly 1 year since we closed.
It's crazy.
So 1 year since we closed the gym, it's being able to look back and see that the community that we're able to gather is still going.
Yeah.
And our trainers who became family to us, not only they're going, but they're soaring, you know? They got everything going on for them. And the community is still around. Everyone is still rotating around each other. And that to me is...
the biggest reward.
It's the biggest reward. It's, we opened a place and we wanted to create something beautiful. And although the place closed, I think that the proof of work is still there. It's still out there in Florida.
Yeah.
And that to me is, it's amazing.
That's cool.
How about you?
Biggest struggle. Man, I struggled a lot with PumpFit. I think if we zoom out, and I don't want to have one specific incident, I just think over the journey of PumpFit, my biggest struggle was feeling like I was present enough. I always felt like I was never there, like I've left it behind, which is probably a personal problem.
Yeah.
But also I did, you know, I don't like to not commit to things, and I struggled with that. We opened a gym, but I saw a lot of things that I would probably complain about but couldn't do anything about. And I look back and I think that's a regret of, you know, of maybe not managing time better and understanding that if I had just given a little bit more of my time, then maybe it wouldn't have been where, you know, in the hardest times that it was in. when it was there. And, you know, it was a really big struggle for me because I wanted to be there. And I remember, I think we just said this the other day, like, I have no idea how I did what I did for like 3 or 4 years, other than just doing it, right? Which Megan and I and maybe a few other people, but mostly just Megan and I had an office in the other studio that we have, and it was her and I running the whole show for Hannah Eden Fitness Online. But yeah, I still wanted to coach at PumpFit. I think I tried to do at least how many days? Was I there every day? Monday through Friday? And a Saturday?
You had 1 day off.
1 day off.
Maybe 2 at the end.
And it wasn't for money. Like, I didn't want to get paid from PumpFit.
Out of 6.
You know,
out of 6,
like,
not 5. Out of 6 days, you were coaching 4.
You know, so I just wanted to show up. So I would do whatever it would take to be there and be my best while I was there, even though I probably hadn't slept. So I just got off a red-eye flight and land at 6 and coach at 7. Like, I was in it because I wanted to be there. So I felt a lot of guilt, which was my struggle. But my biggest reward, and I think that is going to be my biggest struggle now that it's gone, was that no matter how exhausted I was and how overwhelmed or stretched out I was whenever I was moving so much for like those 3, I would say 2 to 3 years of just nonstop moving, is that it always gave me fulfillment. I didn't get paid from PumpFit. You know, I'm not saying that to put that out there, but the point is like, I didn't do it for any other reason other than I needed it. I needed that hour with the lights off, the mic on, fucking dry, and the beats fucking bumping. What?
Is that dry?
You think I'm crying?
I think you're
Maybe
dry.
a little bit.
Fucking dry. Oh, it's dry? It's dry now.
Yeah, it's really dry.
Okay.
But I did, like, that recharged my batteries every single time. So, like, I don't think I realized how much it did for me at the time until it was gone. Like, you know, being in front of a camera and talking to a camera is incredible because I get to reach so many more people. But it's not instant gratification, right? It's not that reaction from that human interaction that you're getting in the moment. It's like maybe it gets edited, gets put together 3 months later. It's like you receive that feeling after it's gone. You know, like, that sounds weird, but like I need that, I think. And that's something that I'm going to have to find a way to recreate if it's not going into PumpFit and tearing down the fucking roof 4 nights or 4 days or 4 mornings a week. And it also gave us an application, and it was in a space which was the biggest reward for me, which was to perfect my craft. You know, you're not just learning from a book or from education virtually. You're actually able to apply the stuff that you learn into real people every day, and it made us all better coaches. It made us all better individuals too, with how to deal and handle and help people, because you're dealing with every walk of person.
I miss that.
I do miss that. That was a challenge, and we've always had that too. From before fitness, it was in the hospitality industry. Like, I think that shapes a little bit of our life and who we become, right? It's being able to be adaptable and read people the right way, to be able to know how to communicate and allow them to let you in. No matter how intimidating our space used to feel, probably from someone that was really fresh in their game, but I miss that, and that was the biggest reward for me. It filled my cup so much, and it made me feel proud and fulfilled. But I think that's actually going to end up being my biggest struggle, but we'll find a way to fill that gap. You know,
it's tough, man. Like you said, it's the ability that we had to work on our craft. I love that shit. I love getting on the mic and just and understanding and really hammering down the basics of fitness and what we're trying to do. Because whenever you're working with a community that was so vast, and whenever you're working with people that come from different backgrounds and different understandings of fitness or different fitness IQ, like we used to say, you need to find about 6 to 7 different ways of saying the same thing. And that's an art, I think. I think that that's really cool.
The different cues, you mean, like, give an example of that. So let's say, like, a kettlebell swing. For someone to hinge their hips, that might not make sense to them. They might round their back. They might drop into a squat. So all these different variations of cueing this person, these 6 different ways of doing it.
And there's so many ways of doing it. Right?
Yeah. That's so true. It's a challenge.
It's an awesome. It was my favorite part of coaching. It's finding a way of cracking through that person. And like I always used to say to our trainers, whenever we had the facility, and whenever we're going through training, It was, you need to be able to train someone as if they couldn't see you.
Mm-hmm.
Your words need to be that powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And that was always my challenge. And that was always what I focused so much, to have people to be standing in the back of the room and people are facing the front of the room,
Mm-hmm.
and I can say stuff, and those 5, 6, 7 words can be understood, and people can kind of course correct whatever they're doing. That to me was the coolest. It is to me the coolest part of coaching.
And it's fun, like selfishly, like,
Oh, yeah.
man, I think about it. After every class, I'd be fucking drenched from head to toe.
Saturdays.
Like, it was like a club.
How
Like,
about Saturdays?
my God, it was like you were, and the energy, and it was always a challenge for me. Like, no matter what was going on in life, to always be consistent. Be the same fucking coach, because your problems are not their fucking problems.
Exactly.
They're here to check out of their problems and to be here to get uplifted by you. Like, you are here to recharge these people. And that to me is like, the biggest high. And you would always feel like a good class, right? You'd always feel a good class. It's like you go on this ride together, and it's like you're navigating this space all together at the same time, and it's just fucking crazy. Like, everyone's screaming, I don't know, it's wild.
I need it, dude. I need this. I need this, dude.
I need it. But for real, I think that's a really transparent look into...
So with that said, we're going to book our next class.
Yeah.
Wherever you are, I miss that.
Yeah. But
miss coaching.
once it's appropriate, mark your fucking calendars. Actually, I don't know the date yet. But keep a space open in your brain and maybe put some money aside, because we want you to join us somewhere in a national park or somewhere in a field or on a farm, and we're going to fucking throw down and have a group activity somewhere outside whenever the time is right. Obviously when it's safe to do so. But yeah, we're ready for that. And who knows, maybe we throw events or we'll do retreats or whatever we'll do to try and fill that gap, right?
But we're going to do it.
Yeah, we are.
Because I miss it, selfishly.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if anyone out there misses it, but if you're one of those who do, we're coming for your ass.
Yeah, and that saying of, like, we always say, people always tell us how much we've changed their life. I hope that this episode brings you in to understand how much you change ours too, and how much of a gap there is now, right?
There is. I think that the pandemic highlighted several things about humanity. Several. I'm not going to get into them. But one of the things that it definitely highlighted to me is the need that we have for personal connections.
Yeah.
To be close to people. Although... And it's crazy because we created this whole culture of stay away from me, don't talk to me, where's your mask, and blah, blah, blah. But all in all, we crave it. Humans crave the presence of other humans.
Yeah.
And they crave...
Energy, man.
Energy, and they crave... For one, I crave hearing people's stories and other points of view and debating and talking, you know what I mean?
Perspective
That's
on
what I
life as
miss.
well. And like, yeah,
I miss
so much.
I miss the trivial conversations with our trainers. I
Yeah.
miss the conversations pre-class with several of our members.
It was home, right?
after
I think that's
class.
something that we can end it on.
Yeah.
Like, it was always home, no matter what. We always had a place to go home to, no matter what was going on in the world. And it was a place that as soon as we arrived, we forced ourselves to leave the problems outside, And I miss that. And I want to thank everyone that was part of that community. Whether you stayed, you left, you all taught us a lesson in some way. And the same thing for our team, And I want to give a huge shout out to our coaches, our head coaches that are still running shit right now. So proud of them, to be able to continue and take what they've learned and the relationships that they've made and continue to keep those relationships alive. I'm just so proud of everyone. And I'm proud of you too. I want to thank you for...
I'm proud of you.
The craziest years.
Those were the craziest years.
We made it.
The next year,
I can't believe we made it, but we did.
We made it. And by we made it, we're using not the royal we. The we made it as a couple, as friends, as lovers. It was tough.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We made it, man.
Well, on that note, we're going to go make out now. And
Yeah.
thanks for listening.
Hey, guys. Thank you for joining us again. Top of the Camelback Mountain here in Phoenix, Arizona. We're going to keep, trailblazing through the country. This is not going to be the last podcast, so you can stay on the lookout for more. Thank you for joining us.
Let's give him a quick view. Oh, my butt. It's got numb.